everyone. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to Cuisine Corner Junior. My name is Norlise, and I will be your host today. Before we talk about everything that inspired this program today, we want to invite you to sign up for a library card. You're never too young, never too old to get a library card. You can sign up for a library card for free at ocls.info/getyourcard. After you get a library card, we want to invite you to sign up for a Beanstack account. On Beanstack, you can review recommendations for books. You can join really, really fun reading challenges, and you can even share your own reviews on the books that you read. To do that, we want you to visit ocls.beanstack.org. And lastly, after this event, thank you so much for being here first. We want you to sign up with your library card for other library events. We have virtual and in-person programs happening now. So visit ocls.info/events. Oh my goodness. I can't thank you guys enough for wanting to have some fun with me in the kitchen. It's going to be super fun. Before we talk about the inspiration, I want to invite some friends that are out there. We have friends on Facebook. Hey, friends on Facebook. We also have some friends on YouTube. Thank you. Hi. And then we also have our friends over here on Instagram. Hey, Instagram friends. So we're going to have lots of fun with everyone today. Now, let me share a little bit about the inspiration behind this program. This is Cuisine Corner Junior Dumpling Dreams, and it is inspired by this book here. This book is available at your local library. If you don't have a library card, you can sign up for one and then immediately come over and check it out. If it's not available, you could always reserve it, and then it'll get to you when it is available. But this lovely picture book, it was written by Carrie Cliggard, and it is a story about Joyce Chen. Now, Joyce Chen was a wife, she was a mother, and she was a famous cook who was a pioneer for promoting healthy Chinese cooking. So in this story here, you will be able to read her timeline of her story and of her life and of her success. So we want you to check it out. And at the end of the story, you could even turn over to her famous dumpling recipe, which is what we're going to be doing together today. All right, my friends, so we're going to put this here for a little bit so you guys can continue to see it there on your screen. Write down the title. Make sure you have it on a little sticky note so you can go ahead and check that out when you are ready. Okay, let's get cooking. I want to talk first about our ingredients. Now, if you are following along, we're going to need the following ingredients. To start things off, we'll talk about the things that are iced here. I'll move over my other things. So what I have iced are the wontons. So we're using some wrappers, right? Some wraps. These are the square ones. You can buy them and find them in your supermarket. Easily they sell them there. And it's a pretty large stack of them too. So we're going to be using these today. You're going to need 1 egg. You're going to use the protein of your choice. So today I have ground pork, but you can use ground chicken, you can use ground beef, you can use ground turkey. I've had them with ground turkey before and they are delicious. But today we are going to use ground pork. And then we also have some green onions that I already started chopping up for our recipe today. So we're going to put that there on the side. We are also going to need a few other spices to, make it taste delicious. We're going to start things off with soy sauce. We're not going to use too much soy sauce. It is very salty. So when we do add soy sauce to our meat, we want to make sure that if the measurement I'm giving you is a little too much, that you put a little less. We also need some rice vinegar here. We're going to be using some ground pepper. And then very, very little sesame oil. Now we're going to be doing 2 things today. The first thing is mixing our meat with all of the ingredients that we need. And the second thing is we're going to shake up a delicious sauce that you can dip your dumplings in when you're ready to eat them. Okay? All right, let's get started. Let me move things around here. Let me put this, I think we have enough. Put this around here too. We're going to get started with the meat. So I have a clear bowl here. It's just a large bowl. It doesn't have to be this large, but I do like to use a large bowl so that there's plenty of room for all of the meat. And we're going to start things off with the meat. Now, when you're in the kitchen, it is always good to be clean and ready to go. So make sure that your hands are cleaned with soap and water. I washed my hands before, but I also want to put on some gloves just to work with my meat a little bit. So while I prep over here, go ahead and gather your ingredients or sit back and relax and we'll see how this goes from beginning to end. So I'm going to open this. This here is 2 pounds, so 16 ounces of meat here. 1 pound, pardon me, it's 1 pound. And we are going to use the entire block. We're just going to put it in there, okay? Now the recipe calls for half a pound. So whenever you want to double the pound, you're just going to add double of every ingredient for the measurement. Let me use my scissors, my kitchen scissors here to open this up. There we go. And once you get it open, you are just going to put the meat in your bowl. Now, I think that Joyce Chen was a pretty inspiring lady. If you read her story, it's very similar to her biography. It does tell her story of when she got married and then she had 3 children. And it wasn't until she had the 3 children that kind of everything else started to kick off. And you can read that in the book. Now, I did touch the meat with my gloves, so you'll see me change my gloves quite a bit today. Let's go ahead and try on another one so that we can start seasoning it. So what you want to do is you want to take a nice, beautiful green onion and you want to cut it up into little pieces. I'm going to put some in my hand here and show my friends here on Instagram as well. So you're just going to cut them in little pieces. And now this just gives the mild onion flavor in your dish. So you want to just add however many you want. You could definitely keep this out if you do not like onions, but I do like onions. So I cut up 2 there and I'm going to add them. Now, this is something that I do not double if I'm adding more meat. If I'm doubling the meat, this is just something that I keep the same measurement, okay? So I have my onions there, and then we're going to add soy sauce. Again, soy sauce is salty. We are not adding extra salt to anything, so just make sure that it isn't too salty. So here you need 1.5 tablespoons. So because I have 2 portions of our measurement for meat, I'm just gonna add 2 because I don't want it to be too salty. So I'm gonna add just half more.
Marley's one of our viewers wanted to know where they can find the recipe.
You can find this recipe in the book. This book right here, it's called Dumpling Dreams. And I'll show you right here, our friends on Instagram. We have Dumpling Dreams, and it's a book, and it's all the way at the back of the book here. She also has a website that you can find recipes of hers as well. Now, if you're watching on Instagram and you want to follow along and you just missed kind of like the run through of all of the ingredients, same thing on Facebook and YouTube, you can go to the description of this event and you can also find it there. So we just finished adding 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. Next, we are going to add 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. So this is very little bit of pepper. So it's super, super tiny. I'm using my measuring spoons here, very small. So I'm going to add 2 of these to make sure. There's a few pieces falling in there, but that's okay. That was 1, and since I have 2 portions of my meat, I'm going to add another one. And that's okay if other pieces kind of fall in there too, okay? So that's 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Now next we want to do a tiny bit of sesame oil. I find sesame oil is very, very, very strong, so I don't like to add too much of it. In fact, it's only half a teaspoon of sesame oil. So I'm going to go ahead and use my 1/4 teaspoon again and just double that. So we'll add, and the way that it comes out, it's thick. So it doesn't come out like very quick. It's oil, so it's has a nice texture to it too, but a strong flavor. So I don't add too much of it. Okay. Now we have that part there. And the next thing we're going to add is the egg. So we just need 1 egg, and you're going to crack it right into the bowl. It's a good thing that kind of got all over my glove and not my hand. There we go. And then if we want to add some extra flavors, now this is something that we didn't mention in the beginning. We have some ginger powder, and then we also have some garlic powder. Now these two will add a really nice flavor, so I like to add them to our meat, but you do not need to add them. So for this, I just sprinkle it. I like to say you measure it with your heart. So just sprinkle it. The garlic or the ginger powder could be very fragrant. You can really, really smell it. Now I love garlic, so sometimes I can go a little over with garlic, but I will be nice with it, not too much. Okay? All right, and that is going to be your meat mixture. Now after, for our little ones, if you have some little ones watching today and a family's doing this with us, they like to get their hands dirty. So you can literally just put your hands into the mixture and you can mix it all together. Now, if you want to use a fork, you can do that too. You're welcome to use a fork and kind of like mash it like mashed potatoes. You don't want to overmix your mixture. Make sure that once you just have it all combined, you just let it be, okay? So I'm gonna just put my hand in here. And what I like to do is I just like to make sure that all of the green onion is actually incorporated into the meat, okay? So we want to make sure that you just don't have like green onions kind of hanging around the meat, just kind of inside the meat. So I'll just take my hand in and do that. Now, I know probably some are thinking, well, if she's doubling the meat mixture, why didn't she add 2 eggs? We use the egg in this mixture because we want it to bind the meat together when it's cooking. So you don't really need a lot of egg. So I've tried it with just a single egg and double the mixture, and I've tried it with 2 eggs. And in my opinion, to my flavor, it adds too much of an eggy taste to it. So then I'll just add just 1. So the whole point of the egg is just to bind it together so it doesn't come all apart. And that's it. Super simple. Nice and easy. You can add more if you want to try your meat before you put them into dumplings. You can do that. You can just cook a tiny, tiny little piece and then try it before you make a whole bunch of dumplings. But I promise you, it's going to be delicious. So what we're going to do now is we are going to set this aside. We're going to make our sauce. Now, for our sauce, I like to use a mason jar. If you don't have a mason jar, that's okay. You can just use a regular bowl or a regular cup. Anything like that is fine. I will also use the lid, and what I like is it isn't going to be a whole lot of sauce. So the sauce, you can shake it up and then set it apart. You always want to make your sauce before you start cooking your dumplings. That way your sauce has time to marinate. All of those flavors want to come together, and they want to become best friends pretty much. And then they're going to be really, really good. So make sure you have something that you can let them just kind of sit out and wait for their other friends, the dumplings, to come in and have a party together, basically in your belly. Okay, friends, let's make the sauce. We need 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. So I'm going to grab my tablespoon. And I'm going to pour 1. Now I'm not doubling this recipe because it's just the sauce. 2. All right. Then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. I have my teaspoon here. This is going to balance out the sodium, the salt, and add a nice blend to it, kind of bring it down a little bit. Then I want to add a little bit of rice vinegar. Friends on Instagram, we're going to add rice vinegar. Now for this, let me try to get it open. We have 1 tablespoon, so that's my bigger spoon of rice vinegar right in there. And we're going to close it up. And then for flavor, you can add a little bit of, same thing, a little bit of garlic and a little bit of, that's up to you, and a little bit of ginger. Just like that. Okay. When you have it all in one, you want to close it up, seal it, make sure that nothing comes out, and you can shake it. Shake it all together. You don't have to mix it. Just shake it, shake, 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 shake. And then let it sit out to marinate. And that's going to be your sauce for your dumplings today, okay? All right, it's time to assemble, and then we're gonna cook together, and then you guys are gonna be blown away with these amazing dumplings. All right, so to start things off, we are going to use our wonton wrappers. Let me grab another, and I'm actually going to see, yeah, I have some space over here. I'm gonna move some things over so that I can clear everything off of my working space, because you're going to need a long baking sheet, one that looks like this, like a cookie baking sheet, a baking sheet like this. And you're gonna need one to put your dumplings that you are building, that you're putting all together, and then you're gonna need one for the dumplings that you just finished cooking. So for that, we're going to cover another baking sheet with some napkins so it can absorb the oil that we will be frying them with. Now, we're not deep frying our dumplings today. We are only going to do a nice shallow fry, but it's good that they kind of sit down a little bit, okay? All right, so go ahead and take your dumpling or your wrapper here. So I have a wrapper. They're very thin, so you want to be very careful with them. They're kind of transparent, so make sure that you're just gentle with them. Now I'm going to dry a little bit my surface here so that it doesn't get extra wet. Now you want a tiny, tiny bowl, or you could use a cup, and just add some water to it. So this is going to help us seal the edges of our dumplings, make sure nothing comes out. Now you may say, these dumplings cook really, really quick, but it's because we're not using a lot of meat inside, but they're gonna be filled up from edge to edge, so I promise. So one thing that you wanna do, a dumpling usually is a round piece of art, a little fluffy pillow, right? It looks kind of like a cloud, like our story today, right? So if you want these, when you buy them in the supermarket, they come in a square. You can use anything that you have at home to make it into a circle. So I'm going to show you how to make them into a circle, but the rest are kind of going to be into the, for time purposes, we're going to just do them in a square, okay? But you can take the edge of the top of a cup. You can take a cookie cutter. You can take a measuring cup like this. This is a half a cup. You can use this too. And all you're going to do is, I'm going to move this to the side here so you can see. All you're going to do is take it and turn it around like this. Place your wrapper right in the middle, and then you're going to press down on it. When you're pressing down, you're going to take your index finger and take the tip of your finger and just scrape off the sides. Scrape off the sides. If you have a cookie cutter, then it's probably sharp enough and you don't need to scrape it, but all you want to do is scrape off the sides and then take off the little piece there, and you have a circle. I'll show you now. And you have a nice little circle. So these are going to be your little cloud, puffy clouds to make your dumplings. So if you want to do that, you're more than welcome to do that. We are going to use them just as a square here. I'm going to put this over here. And I'm going to bring over my dumpling tray. Now this is where I'm going to place all of the ones that I'm going to fill up right now. Now, when you are making your dumplings, you do not want to fill them up too much. If you do, then they're just going to kind of pop out when you start to fold them and you try to seal them too, okay? All right, so I'm just going to use a teaspoon, just a regular spoon, but you can just use any spoon that you have at home. And I'm going to start to grab just a tiny bit of filling, and I'm going to put it right there in the center of my wrapper. Now, when it's time to close this up, I'm just going to close it into a nice triangle. Now, I need to brush a little bit of water on the edges because that is going to seal the dumpling wrapper. Then you take it and you press it on the sides, just like this. And then you have a nice little filled pillow there. That's all. There you go, my friends on Instagram here. Have your nice pillow. It's a nice little triangle. If you do the circle, then you do the same exact thing. I do want to fill this one up. Remember to not use too much. And this one will just kind of look like, and we'll lift here, like half a moon, half a circle, just like that. Okay, and there's my half a circle there. Now you'll place them there. We're gonna do a few before we start frying, and it doesn't take too long. So we'll go ahead and put these together. All right, now if you have any questions while we're doing this, go ahead and put those questions in the chat. I do have my friends here helping. We have Taylor and we also have Miss Caitlin who are happy to let me know about your questions. And if you're doing this at home, also let us know. Let us know how many of you guys are in the kitchen joining us today. Or if you plan on doing this in the future, let us know. We want to know. It's always a good time to be in the kitchen. So if you do plan on checking out the book, you can take it, check it out, and you get really, really awesome instructions on how to make these. So I'm just placing a few out. It's easier if you do kind of like an assembly line and then fill them up and then close them. And then we'll start frying them. This one seems to be a little stuck. Sometimes they get stuck. Be gentle and be patient with them. Don't go too fast. Now, if there's anyone joining us a little later today, allow me to let you know what we're doing. We are making dumplings from scratch. We have some pork here, ground pork mixed with some fun ingredients. And then we also have some wonton wrappers here. So we are making them. Here we go. I have 1 tablespoon right in the middle. Right in the middle. There we go. And then I will show you guys how to cook them.
Miss Norlise, we have a question.
Yes.
Where do you buy special ingredients?
You can actually buy them at your local supermarket. I went to my local supermarket and they have an international aisle. And there you can find the ingredients like the soy sauce and the sesame oil. And so you could always find these at or you can even go to like an Asian market as well. If you're in Central Florida, you can definitely find that close to Mills. There's an Asian market there that you can visit and get some of the ingredients for today. But usually your local supermarket will have them too, just in an international aisle there. Good question. Thank you for asking. Now I am brushing with my finger. If you have a pastry brush and you don't want to do this with your finger, although I find it fun, it's kind of like painting with my finger. You can just rub the water there on all the edges and close them up. Now, remember, if you add too much, they're going to just come out on the side. So just make sure that they're not coming out to the side. You can open it back up and take some of it off. Okay. All right. Once I'm done with these, we are going to start cooking these delicious pillows. This one doesn't want to close. What does that mean? It means it doesn't have enough water or it dried up already. So it's asking me to be a little quicker. All right, I have 2 more here. Awesome. 1 more here.
Miss Norlise,
Yes.
Jessica said that she loves this book title.
Oh, I think it's so sweet. Her story is so inspiring. She's a woman who just was kind of like a fish out of water. She had to move away from her hometown and to another place. And she's like, what am I going to do with my time? And she just was like, look, I'm not going to stay stuck. I'm just going to go for my dreams and see where it takes me. And it took her to some pretty incredible places. I'm trying not to tell you all the details of the book because I really want you guys to kind of get it and read it together with your family. But it is so cute. Now, every time I eat dumplings when I go out, I think of them as little clouds in my dreams, right? So we're gonna bring this closer here, and I'm gonna move my dumplings over. And I'm gonna bring over my other tray, and this is where I'm going to add the ones that I already cook. Let me put this over here so I don't spill it. Make sure when you're about to move into another stage of your recipe that you kind of assess your working area to make sure that everything is in place. So I know I want to keep my dumplings nice and close, and I know I want to keep this nice and close too. Now I'm going to dry my hands or my gloves because I have some water on them, and I'm going to move my book because we want to make sure that our book stays nice and clean so that you guys can all come over and check it out. So I'm just going to place it right over here so that it doesn't, matter of fact, if you still want to see it, I'll lift it up so it doesn't get any kind of oil on it. So we're going to do a shallow fry here today. I have a 9-inch pan. We're going to put a little bit of oil, about 2 tablespoons of oil. And we're going to turn on our little burner here, and we're going to put it like on medium high. If you think that your dumplings are frying too quickly, meaning that they are browning too quickly on the sides, and you want to lower that heat. But for now, we want the pan to get hot, and we want to add about 2 tablespoons of oil. If you have a larger pan that you're going to be frying in, then you probably want to add a little bit more oil. That's okay. We just don't want to deep fry them, which means we don't want to submerge them into, you know what, this has a little bit of, let me use my other one here. That one had a little bit of soy sauce, so I don't want to add that one here. So I'm just going to do 1, 2, mine's kind of big. I might do 3. Yeah, 3. So you wanted to cover and I'll bring it over to our camera so you can see. You want it to cover the bottom of it, but you don't want it to deep fry our dumplings. Okay, so my friends on Instagram, it's just a little bit to cover, a nice little coat of oil on the bottom. And my friends over here, a nice coat on the bottom. That's what we want. Then we want it to heat up. What I like to do is if I have like a piece of a wonton on the wrapper, I like to add it to my oil with nothing. And once that little piece starts to sizzle on the sides, you know that your oil is nice and ready to go, okay? So just a little trick in the kitchen, you can add a little piece there. Another thing that my grandmother loved to tell me, oh, don't be scared of the oil. It's okay, it won't do anything to you. But oil sometimes, if it's really hot, can be very dangerous. So you have to be very careful when you are frying anything, even if it's shallow. But she would tell me, just flick a little bit of water in there, and if it goes tss, then you know it's ready to go. That kind of scares me. So I like to go this route and add a nice little piece of whatever I'm cooking. And once that starts to sizzle, I know my oil is ready to go. Now, I'm going to bring this up just a little bit so that we can get that going. And I'm not going to use this anymore. All right, now the good thing about cooking is that there are stages to everything. So while you're waiting for this oil to heat up and to get cooking, you can clean up your surroundings. So I do have some things that I want to put away. So I'm just going to put them in a bowl. I like to call it my communal bowl where I know I need to wash it. And if you have your sink nice and close, then you can use that too. But I'm going to take all these little things around to make it easy to clean up a little later. And I still want my meat there because I think a little later I'm going to make some more meats and maybe invite some friends over so that they can all try these delicious dumplings. Because friends, you're going to want to share this recipe with everyone because it's really, really good. Now, I'm still waiting for my oil it's almost there. I see the little piece of wrap moving around. But I was talking to a good friend today, and she told me that if I take my green onion, I chop this up, right, into tiny little pieces, and I take my green onion and I take the bulb of the green onion, which is the white part, and I put it into water, that in about a week or so, give or take, it will grow another green onion. Now, I don't know if we have some brave souls out there to try this out, but I think you should. My friends on Instagram, I think you should put this in a bowl and you should try it out. If anybody's done that before, could you let me know? because I've never done it before, and I think that's so cool that you can just take the root or the bulb or a seed of something and just grow it again in your own home. And I mean, I think it sounds like a really good time. You'll have endless green onions, which personally I don't think it's a bad idea because I love green onions. All right, friends, here we go. We are sizzling up over here, so I'm going to gently. Now, remember, you did add water to the edges of it. Water and oil do not mix. It will, talk to you. It'll talk back to you, I like to say. Sometimes our oil can get a little sassy, and it'll talk back to me. And if it does, you just say, calm down, oil. See, it's kind of like talking to me right now. Step back, lower it if it's going to be a little too hot, if you're a little too close. Now, we also want to make sure that the adults are doing the frying in the kitchen. We don't want any little friends in the kitchen doing the frying. This can be very dangerous. Be safe. If your caregiver says that you can help them, then yes, by all means, you can be the helper. So I want that to calm down a little bit. Go ahead and put that in. All right, friends. This is it. Once we have these fried, we're going to try these delicious pillows, and you're going to be an amazing chef with dumplings. And we all learned it from Joyce Chen. All right, here we go. I have 3 in there. You could put whatever makes you comfortable. If you think you don't want to overcrowd the pan at all, you do have to turn these around. So don't overcrowd your pan. Now I have some tongs that I'm going to use to turn them around. I'm going to lower this. And I'm just going to flip them. Once you see a nice, matter of fact, I will show you guys. See this side has a really nice brown to it, nice and toasty. That's what you want on both sides. That takes about 1.5 minutes. It doesn't take very long at all. If you're only doing this in 30 seconds, your heat is too high. You want to put that down because you definitely want your meat to cook inside. Remember, you have raw meat in there and you want it to cook. Okay? Now remember, any questions, go ahead and put those in the chat. If you're looking for other books to check out at your local library, we have a ton of them, especially along the same lines of dumplings. And there's one called the Dumpling Soup that is also delicious and has a recipe at the end. We have a lot of things that you can do in the kitchen with your family, and you can also add some literature to it too. Just have a fun reading night with your family. Almost done here, friends. Oh, it's already smelling really good. Okay, now I lowered it significantly because it was talking back to me. And I was like, we're going to bring you down. So we didn't want it to splatter everywhere. And then once we are done, this one here is done. So we're just going to let it sit on our napkin there so that we can kind of let go of any of the excess oil, okay? All right, these are looking really good. One of the things in the story that our honorary host, I guess I should say, which is Joyce Chen in our story, did was open her own restaurant. And I thought that was so cool. I'm thinking, I'm cooking here. We're all cooking together. Have any of you guys ever thought, I want to open my own restaurant? Hey, if you set your mind to it and you put everything in line, you can do it. And everyone can try your delicious food. Have some here that are like, come on. All right. So I have to, I think my pan has some space for these two here. Awesome, there it goes. And I have one more here, so I'll go ahead and add this one too. Okay, almost done. This one is like Ready to go. Okay. I'm gonna take one more out and then the other ones will kind of sit there. And now, one time I was doing this at home and my daughter asked if we can save them for later, and then it dawned on me, these can be frozen. So you don't want to cook them and then freeze them. You want to put them together here and then you can freeze them like that, and you could have endless amounts of dumpling in your freezer. I wouldn't freeze them longer than like 2 to 3 months. I definitely would, I don't even think they would last that long in my house, honestly. But you want to make sure that they don't get like freezer burn and that you eat them in a decent amount of time. So, all right, I'm ready to try these. I am excited. These here, I'm going to lower this a little bit so that they can just kind of slow cook there. And I'm going to try one of these. I'm going to take my gloves off because I think that if you're ever watching a recipe and the chef doesn't try their recipe, there's something wrong with that. Because I want you guys to believe me on how good these are. So if I will eat them, maybe you will trust me. They are very good. And I'm going to grab the first one that I took out. I'm sure it's going to be very hot. These, I'm going to watch them as they go. I'm going to try to open it. Oh, I have a knife. I'm going to open it here so we can look inside. And look at that. My meat isn't red anymore. It has, ooh, there's a nice little smoke. Our friends on Instagram, the meat isn't red anymore. The meat is fully cooked and you can just eat it like that. And I love the crunch that you also get. So let's see. So good. I think that if you ever take them to like a bake sale, or if you get invited to a party, or if you're just doing like a family gathering and you said, I'm bringing dumplings, everyone will be impressed. So friends, definitely do some dumplings. I hope you like them. If you do, or if you don't, we definitely want you to let us know your opinion about the dumplings. I don't want these to burn on me, which is why I'm trying to take them out. There we go. I got a little bit of water in there, so we're going to close it up so it doesn't splatter too much. And those are our dumplings. I hope that you enjoyed this recipe. Again, don't forget to check out the story Dumpling Dreams and read a little bit more about Joyce Chen, who is the inspiration behind this recipe. You can visit her website too, where there's so much more information. Now, we want to know if you enjoyed this this program, and even if you enjoyed the recipe, please visit ocls.info/survey so you can let us know. My friends, I'm going to stay back over here to fry a few more dumplings. I hope you're doing the same, and I hope you're having a very good day. Thank you so much for joining us today. Bye, friends on Facebook. Bye, friends on Instagram. See you guys later.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to be the first to find out when we have new fun and informative videos for you. Orange County Library System is your place to learn, grow, connect.